Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. And the incredibly expensive HDZero goggles would appear to have not recorded about 12 batteries that I flew last night at Patrick's Christmas party, which is absolutely maddening because I had some really good runs and I was kind of on fire for a little while, and I was kind of relying on a bunch of that flight footage to show you guys how this thing flies. So that's incredibly frustrating. And they're not even corrupted. They're just not there at all. So having it set to transfer stream.ts would not have helped. They just, I don't know. That is extremely frustrating. I made sure that it said record on the top all the time, and I made sure that I unplugged the quad before I powered down the goggles. It should not be a memory card issue. Like a bad memory card would not just not record the file. Man, that's super annoying. That is super annoying. Wow. What the hell, HDZero? I'm just like looking through the memory card, and they're just not there. They're just not there at all. There's one single file that you guys just watched, which was the very first battery that I flew. And there's 24.1 gigs still available on the card. That is absolutely maddening. YouTube is also running like complete hell, so the stream is not performing well. And look, I've got the stream all set up from yesterday. Hold on, from when not yesterday, 2 days ago, when my dad was on the live stream. If you want to meet my dad and get to hear some of his story, Friday's live stream he joined me, which was pretty cool. Always super cool. And nope, Treats for Teddy Fund is done. It's all about the health insurance fund. There we go. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. we are going to do some stuff today. We are going to dive back into the potentially ultimate AIO5 build. On the last live stream, last couple of live streams, we've been talking about the HDZero AIO5 and what kind of a build it would be perfect on. Yeah, my hair is doing something today. It's misbehaving today. That's what it's doing. So AIO5 is a super interesting all-in-one, which unbelievably has HDZero and ELRS and a gyro and an OSD chip, I assume. Maybe not. I guess it doesn't need an OSD chip because HDZero is digital. And ESCs and all the things on one single 25.5 by 25.5 board. Magic. Incredible. In order to cram all that onto the board, it's a little bit heavier. So when you put the AIO5 flight controller into a 65 millimeter build, it's about 2 to 2.5 grams heavier than an analog build. An equivalent analog build. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of weight, but analog builds at this point are 16, 17, 18 grams dry. So adding 2 to 2.5 grams is a lot. It's a significant weight gain, and they perform much different. You get a lot less runtime, and just the general flight characteristics are worse because of the extra weight. If you don't have a set of analog goggles and you only have HDZero, no brainer. AIO5, build a 65 mil tiny whoop, rip around the house, you're gonna love it. If you have analog goggles though, I don't know why you would do it. Other than you want to have an HDZero tiny whoop. But like from a logical standpoint, I don't know why you would do it. The analog rigs are going to fly better for longer. And inside the house, the additional video quality that you get from HDZero over analog doesn't do you any good. Inside the house, there's no scraggle. You've flown inside your house before, so you know where everything is. So slightly better video quality, it just doesn't do anything. The latency is about the same between analog and HDZero. And so after I did my 65 millimeter HDZero build, I noticed that I didn't fly it. The only time I flew it is when you guys would ask me in chat, yo, can you fly your HDZero 65? And I would. And so a couple of streams ago, somebody in the comments said, yo, why not put the AIO5 into a 75 millimeter rig? And at first I was like, I don't know about that, blah, 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 blah. And then I started really thinking about it and thinking about what does the AIO5 do better. It doesn't do runtime or flight characteristics better, but what it does do better is it has slightly better video quality. And so a 75 millimeter rig is more of an outdoor rig. Yes, you can fly these inside, but they're not as good as the 65s because they're heavier and sloppier and whatnot. Literally harder to fly inside. The better video quality outside starts to make sense because outside there's scraggle mainly. There's scraggle and things change outside, right? You go outside and you fly in different spots. Your house is going to change, is going to stay the same largely every single time you fly. So you get that 3D picture in your brain of the way your house is, the inside of your house is, and you're good to go. Outside, even like your front and your backyard, leaves are falling off the trees are falling down, right? You fly to the neighbor's house, you fly to the other neighbor's house, you fly to the other, right? There's stuff that changes more often outside than inside. Mainly scraggle. Scraggle is the big thing that we get outside that we don't get inside. And so, the AIO5, in my opinion, is better suited on a 75 millimeter build because 75 millimeter stuff. You could argue this, for the record, flies better outside. You could argue that it doesn't fly better. The 65 millimeter rigs with high KV 0702s are unbelievable. The problem comes in with runtime. The 65 millimeter builds, you're pretty much limited to a 300 mAh battery. Not anymore, because Weebleed's got these giant, what are they, 465, right? Yeah, 465 mAh batteries, but the problem with this battery is that it's so long that it sticks like way out the front of the quad, and you're jousting. And so like if you crash, if you nose in crash with this battery in there, it's going to mangle the battery, and it's also going to try to push the battery out the back of the quad, which is going to be really hard on your battery leads. And if you rip those battery leads off now, it's almost impossible to find the little tiny 65 mil whoop outside, right? So this is super cool for like a cruiser, but you're going to crash at some point. The 75 millimeter rigs, the battery bay is set up for a 450 mAh battery at smallest, 550 or even 650, right? So it's just better suited to carrying a bigger battery. And when you fly outside, you fly faster, and you fly bigger, and that uses more juice. And so 75 millimeter rigs are a better choice for flying outside, realistically. When you take, they also have the potential to make more power. They're significantly heavier, so like power to weight ratio, believe it or not, is typically in favor of 65 millimeter rigs. But still, this makes more raw power, more raw thrust because of the bigger props, and that'll do things like push against the wind a lot better. 65 mil motor-to-motor rigs have a tough time in the wind. So do these, but it's a little bit better with the 75. So yeah, they're a little bit better suited to flying outside. And thus, the 75 millimeter AIO5 now exists. We built this on Friday's live stream. It was a lot of just unscrewing screws and rescrewing screws. I already had the battery lead soldered up to this AIO, so I basically just had to take this center canopy out of one frame and drop it into another. I didn't show it on the down-facing camera because it's just unscrewing a bunch of screws, unplugging a bunch of plugs, right? So you didn't miss anything, but we talked about the builds in depth. I was really looking forward to showing you some of the flight footage of this from Patrick's yesterday, because I was getting down. I was getting down with it. Patrick's garage office garage, is already shaping up to be a super fun place to fly. And I put enough batteries through this, and I was kind of in the zone that, yeah, I was doing some fun shit. I don't know what the hell the deal is with the HDZero goggles right now, but this is the second time that they've just not recorded anything. I don't get it. I really don't. You know, they're an outrageously expensive set of goggles. The onboard DVR is the best onboard DVR that there is. So like, anybody that wants to record analog is going to be running these goggles. I can't believe, God damn it. Yeah, this is really annoying. So there's that. Sorry, I had to get this transmitter out because we are going to be flying today. Today, since I have the build together, I've got a bunch of batteries on the charger. We're going to fly it in the house. I've also got the HDZero external module charged back up. And so we're going to fly a bunch of HDZero batteries on the live stream. I am going to use these goggles now because I have to check to see if they're ever going to record DVR again. I didn't change any settings. I didn't do anything. I mean, it recorded that first battery, and then I unplugged the battery, and I plugged another battery in, and it said REC in red on the top right. Like, what? Why? I was flying through fire and shit. They had a bonfire, and I was ripping through the bonfire, and it would wiggle the quad a bunch. I was like flying through the flames. What the hell, man? Come on. And like, I know how the HDZero goggles work. I know that I need to unplug. I wonder if... So I have the HDZero goggles set to automatically start and stop recording. I wonder if I need to disable that. And I wonder if I need to do what... Tinsel the Turtle says maybe the fire has something to do with it. No, I didn't put the goggles in the fire. I wonder if I need to turn that function off. And much like the Walksnail goggles, physically push the button to start the recording and then physically push the button to stop the recording. But like, I'm in the habit of, with the HDZero goggles powered on, I plug the battery into the quad and I look up at the top right side, top right of the goggles, and I wait for the red REC, and then when I'm done flying, I unplug the quad and I stare up there and I wait for the red REC to disappear for it to finish the file before I turn the goggles off. So I don't and I did that over and over and over again last night, right? So like pushing the button to start and stop the file, to start and stop the recording, in theory that's kind of the same thing that it's automatically doing, right? I don't know. Uriel says test it. Yeah, we're gonna test it on this live stream for sure. The files just don't exist. Like, where did they go? Where what? Is this real life? Is this really happening? It's Fat Shark DVR all over again. I've come to expect this from Fat Shark DVR. It never works. Fat Shark DVR never ever works. Not never ever, but like I would say only about 10% of the time built-in Fat Shark DVR works. HDZero is going down the same road. Apparently, I don't know. What the hell, man? Come on. In the chat, Alexander Lewis Hughes was first. Uriel was next. Bad. Render. Free Lojo. Douglas 6. Chaser FPV. Moss 1. Northern Tier. Rock Crawler. Notice. CBFPV. Anonymous. Morton Upshot. And Notice. I already said Notice. If you want the gangly guy to read your name, you got to come in early and say hello. Or you can just tag me and type CiottiFPV. When you do that, it'll light up an orange. If you do it to each other, you can get people's attention. If you want to get Douglas 6's attention, in your chat message, type Douglas 6. Spell it right and put the spaces, or lack thereof, in the right places. Ah, that rhymed! And for that person, their own name will light up an orange. And they'll know that you're talking to them. Over on CiottiFPV.com, there's a million ways that you can support me. Patreon helps me out the most. Somebody joined... Oh, speaking of, I have some well-deserved Patreon new patrons to give shout-outs to. My email became a legitimate war zone, as it does in December every year. And yeah, there were a bunch. Dan Mullinger with a super supportive PayPal with a note for being awesome. This was a couple of weeks ago. I hope that I gave him a shout out by now, but in case I didn't, thank you so much, Daniel. Very, very, very generous. Craig Meyer, welcome to the Gangly Gang, my friend. Thank you for the support over on Patreon. Green Thumb FPV and Giorgio C, welcome to the gangliest of all the gangs. Thank you guys so much for the support. Enjoy the fun stuff on Patreon. If you hurry and join my Patreon right now, you'll get your shout out not 2 weeks later. You'll get it right now. You got to be quick, though. Jake Esty, welcome to the gang. Thank you for your support, my friend. Shitstorm, welcome to the Gangly Gang. I think Shitstorm has taken the crown for the best Patreon, the best name over on Patreon. Jeff Cap, welcome to the gang. Thank you for the support, my friend. Nate Jordan, welcome. Thank you for joining the Patreon, dude. I think there's one more. That might be it. The one more is somebody that's joining right now, hopefully. CiottiFPV.com, and then click the Patreon button, and you yourself can join. And I'm looking at my email right now. If I see a new Patreon email pop in there, I will give you a well-deserved shout out. Patreon helps me out the most, and you get the most benefits. There's a whole bunch of technical articles over there. All the spreadsheets that we do are over there. Lots of fun stuff is going on. You're gonna get full Discord access. You'll get access to a YouTube playlist that's unlisted with all kinds of cool stuff. Patreon-only live streams, half-done edits, sketchy flying, I don't want to be public, all kinds of good stuff. And you'll be supporting somebody that's testing stuff that will probably save you some money in the future. And so, give it back, bros! Chaser FPV, see that? Look how well that works. Chaser FPV, thank you so much for the support, man. Welcome to the Gangly Gang, brother. Very cool. The Patreon is why I can do this full time. The Patreon is specifically why I can do this as good as I can do this. If at some point I have to get a full-time job again out in the universe, I will continue to do these live streams, but instead of 10 hours a week, it'll probably be maybe like 2, maybe 4 hours a week. I won't be able to test as much stuff, blah, 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 blah. You guys supporting me is why I can do as much as I do and buy as much stuff to test as I can, basically. So thank you for that. That's very, very cool, right? My business expenses are buying one of each of the 1002s so that we can try them out and see which ones turn the highest RPM and all that good stuff that we do on the spreadsheet. So thank you guys so much for that. It's been a hell of a ride, and I'm willing to keep going as long as you're willing to keep supporting me. So Etsy has a bunch of really fun stuff, some stickers, some hardware, some full builds on there. I think there's maybe only 1 or 2 left. But yeah, lots of good stuff over on the Etsy store. Fiverr is where you can work one-on-one with me. Treat yourself, my friends. I put as much of the information in my crazy brain into these live streams. But if you want to get a ton of information really fast, this is how you do it. You spend time one-on-one with an instructor. My journey through learning to couples dance this year, I've learned a lot going to group sessions for sure, but in the past couple of months, having working with a private instructor every other Tuesday, I've probably learned as much in the last 2 months from the private the hour straight with a private instructor as I have the entire year going to these group classes. The private instructor is more expensive for sure, but the group classes add up. And so it's probably about a wash. It's probably no more expensive to learn one-on-one with a private instructor. And there's a massive benefit in that you learn really fast. With dancing, one of the things is like you don't put as many reps in. The group classes are great because you learn something and then you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it. And so you put these reps in, right? Like exercise. You don't get as much of that from the private instructor, but you can do a lot of that stuff at home. FPV is kind of similar, right? 6 batteries a day is how you're putting your reps in. But like learning the stuff that's super helpful, learning all the technical stuff, how much time you got. Can you leave these streams on in the background while you're in the garage, while you're doing something else? Awesome. You're going to get all the good info. But if you want to get all the info all at once, a one-on-one session with a private instructor is definitely the way to go. And I'm here for you, man. I've been doing this for over 8 years, paying a lot of attention, you know, making the right friends. Joshua, Chris Rosser, oh my God, Ryan Harrell. Yeah, there you go. Support me and I'll support you. Support me and I'll help you know more and have more fun and learn more and fart. I can help you fly better, teach you how to tune, teach you how to help you build better, basically. Buy the right parts for your build so that your custom rig is going to do things better that you want it to do, right? The point of building a custom rig is so that it's perfect for you. The payload you're carrying, the speeds that you want to travel, the cruising speeds you want, the amount of flight time you want, the amount of durability that you want, all that stuff, the flight characteristics you're looking for. And I can help you out with that because I've been doing this forever and I've been testing stuff forever. Teespring's got some really fun shirts and other apparel. I'm not wearing one of them. PayPal if you want to support me directly, but you don't want to do a super chat because you know YouTube takes 30%, and then lots of affiliate links. Use somebody's affiliate links, friends. They're free money. In the chat, Rockcrawler tagged me and said, I miss Bartlett Roll, but I'm here for CiottiFPV and the Gangly Gang. Welcome, brother. Notice says, finally time for a calmer stream. I made the... Joshua freaked out at one. I haven't had a good solid freak out in a while. And Joshua had it wasn't a freak out, but he was ranting a little bit, rightfully so. He was ranting during his live stream, and I was being a troll in the comments. I said, have I become the calm streamer? Somebody said, yeah, you have. Jokingly. I'm certainly not the calm streamer. Joshua is still way calmer. Calmer than you are. Calmer than you are, dude. Calmer than you are. Hey, does anybody want an Audi? So this is the Audi livery from way back in like the Group B days. This is a NATO, I want to say it's 20 millimeter watch band. It'll work on pretty much any watch. I don't want this. I have enough of these watch bands, and I'm not like a massive. I'm not an Audi fan, but I'm not a huge Audi fan. If you or someone you know is a huge Audi fan and they wear watches, yeah, this is a 20 millimeter NATO watch band from Campiasano, a company that makes motorsports themed watch bands. Yeah, if you or someone you know would like this, let me know. I'll sell it to you cheap. I don't know what to do with it. I won't use it. Apache Smoke says, Apache Smoke, of course, the beautiful bastard that does all of the timestamps on these live streams. He says, hey, CiottiFPV and all you gangly gang, how are you doing this sunny Sunday? I'm exhausted, but 'tis the season. I am, this happens every Christmas to me. I'm completely overwhelmed. You know, look, one of the things that proper mental illness does is, among other things, it in the grand scheme of things, it just kind of like limits how much you're able to take on. It limits how much you're able to do. I remember in my 20s, when it was undiagnosed and when my brain was just, you know, in its 20s, I could do a lot. I could do a lot of stuff. I could handle a lot of stress. I could juggle a lot of things. I could do a lot. And also, I think that back then, the generalized anxiety disorder and severe depression were not as severe and not as generalized. And yeah, I could take on a lot. I could do a lot. I could do a lot of things every single day and do them well. Into my 30s, that changed quite a bit. My 30s were very, very rough. And I almost didn't make it out of them. That's when the depression really took hold. And one of the things that that I had a hard time with is that it was a realization that I couldn't do as much. And that's one of the things that mental illness does, is it just limits how much you can do. And that's super frustrating. Especially for somebody like me that like gets really interested in a lot of stuff and wants to live like a super rich, super, chaotic, complicated life. I can really feel it now in my 40s. There's just I just, you know 15 pounds in a 10-pound bag, right? There's so much that I want to do, and there's so much that um, old brain, previous brain that's less intelligent, thinks that I need to do, right? There's all these things that I need to do, which I have to talk back to that, and a lot of stuff I want to do. I there are some things I need to do. I need to breathe. I need to eat, right? But I don't need to stay absolutely up to date on emails like today, right? I can let emails roll over into tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And so there's a lot of reprogramming that needs to happen. The word need is tough. Careful with the word need, right? There aren't many things that you need. We think that we need a lot more than we actually do. We want a lot, but our list of needs is much shorter than we give it credit for. And if your perceived list of needs is too big, that's super stressful, and that's where things can get a little hairy. And so yeah, every year around this time, there's so many things going on, and it's super hard. And I get overwhelmed every year, and I do a good job balancing. I do a good job hiding it, but like inside my head, it's just like, oh my god, dude, this is a bit much. And yeah, the past few days, right, like with Christmas rapidly approaching, that's really it's really smacked me in the face. But it's all good stuff, right? Like, and it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. I'm willing to run myself ragged for a short window of time here, to get in as much stuff as I can, right? That's okay. It's super important to have that awareness, right? That's something that's drastically changed for me, as I've really dug in with talk therapy and a brilliant therapist over the last few years. And just it's something that just comes with maturity too, right? So yeah, there's that. I feel tired. I am tired. I probably look tired. And that's all it is. Don't worry about me. It's all good. We'll be fine. There's rest coming, right? The week between Christmas and New Year's, just pretty soon all of the memes will start to pop up about like, be a sofa, just accomplish nothing. That's your week to just rest. And Jesus, are we going to need that rest with what's coming in January? So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And it's, again, I know that that's coming. And so I know I have that to look forward to, so I can hit it hard for, another half a week to a week. Speaking of hitting it hard, there is going to be a 12 hours of Christmas live stream this year, as I've tried to do every year. I don't think it's going to be on Christmas this year, though. In the past, so it started during COVID, when lots of people were separated from their families, and the holidays are already a really stressful time mental health wise. And so I decided, yeah, I'm going to stream for 12 hours on Christmas Day and keep the folks company who are separated from their families. And it was great, and it was a blast, and it's super hard work. First time I did it, it was actually a 24-hour stream. Little did I know that if you stream beyond 11 hours, YouTube doesn't save the live stream. So anybody that saw that 24-hour live stream, you saw a once in a lifetime performance that will never be. I will never do a 24-hour stream again. It's too much. Yeah, that's gone. YouTube did not save that. I did not save it on OBS. It's gone forever. That was a one-time performance. So if you got to see that, congratulations. You'll never experience that again. No one will. Yeah. The following year and last year, I did 12 hours. I split it up into 8 hours and then whatever the math works out. So that YouTube actually saves it as part 1, part 2. I am going to be doing that this year, but I don't think that I'm going to do it on Christmas Day. It's my life has changed drastically. Back then, I was living in an apartment, no kids, and it was whatever. It was easy to do that. Nowadays, I have other amazing responsibilities, right? The kids, this house, Maggie. My family is in town right now. And so a 12-hour stream on Christmas Day is a little tough. So I think what I'm going to do this year is push the stream back to Friday. Our Friday live stream will be the 12 hours of Christmas. I was also kind of thinking about doing it on Thursday, but I don't usually stream on Thursday. And so I'd rather keep it onto a day that like I normally stream. I will be just wasted by the end of it too, right? So like if I did it on Thursday, I would have to cancel the stream on Friday. You guys are used to seeing me stream on Friday, so I think it's just a better bet to kind of do it on Friday. I don't love the idea that I won't be streaming for 12 hours on Christmas Day in case there are some of you that are separated from your families. But I am going to stream Wednesday night. I'm going to do my regular stream from 10 to 12 on Wednesday night. So I'll be there for you for 2 hours. Just, tough it out during the day. And then you've got me to look forward to. That feels weird to say. Wednesday night. And then look, you gotta keep going for 2 more days after Christmas. If you're having a total mental health breakdown, look, the 12-hour stream is coming. You got to make it through 2 more days, and then I'll be there for you. I know that's tough. The other option was like to do it on Tuesday, but again, like I don't usually stream on Tuesdays, so yeah. Every year I do it slightly different. This year I'm trying a day or 2 after. We'll see how it goes. I hope that's cool. From day 1 of doing the big live stream, it was about giving you guys a friendly voice, a friendly face, because the holidays are incredibly difficult, mental health wise, for some folks. And so, yeah, I hope that I'm still doing that. I'm here for you for 2 hours Christmas night. Just tough it out during the day, and from 10 to 12 Eastern, we can hang. And then, rest up the day after Christmas, as we all do, or do more family stuff, as some folks do as well. And then on Friday, I'm here for you. Cool? Is that fair? I hope that's okay. I'm not gonna let myself feel like I'm letting anybody down with that, right? Like I'm trying something different, and I'm putting up a bit of a boundary, and right, like honoring that I have stuff going on. And yeah, that's important to do. So sorry if it's a letdown, and if you were looking forward to 12 hours of this nonsense on Wednesday, but you can make it 2 more days. Cool? You're stronger than you think you are. You can make it. I promise you. We'll hang Wednesday night, and then we'll hang forever on Friday, and you guys can punish me by paying money to make me do silly things like wear the onesie or wear silly glasses or what. We'll find some good goals, some good super chat goals for Friday. Cool. Uriel says, "Is Kenny Rogers there today again?" Nah, my dad's back at the campsite. Render says, do you have a... We talked about that. Danzilla says, hello. Bagzilla says, what's up? Alexander Lewis Hughes says, was epic to see and listen to your dad. He seems really switched on and someone who'd be great to chat to for hours. Thanks for having him on. Yeah, my dad is pretty amazing, man. I'm super lucky to have been raised by my particular parents. They are incredibly intelligent, caring, kind human beings. And the older I get, and the more people that I meet who were raised by parents that weren't like that, the more I come to appreciate that. And yeah, it's I'm just super lucky, super lucky. You know, I am the person that I am in large part because of their efforts, right? Because of how hard they worked and how all the other things, how kind they are, how yeah. So I'm a lucky guy. Denzel the Terrible says, wait one cotton picking minute. I miss David Ciotti. My life is meaningless. Sigh. It's all right. It's on the internet, so it's here forever. You can watch Friday's live stream as many times as you want. Steve Sims says, do frames have a resonant frequency? Everything has a resonant frequency. And do you think that board could be bound up on those offside holes? What board? What are we talking about, Steve? Tag me again and tell me more. But yeah, all frames, all things have a resonant frequency. If I take my phone and I go like that, you can hear it. That pitch, that pok, that's probably not it, but that's the resonant frequency. If I take this 75mm rig, it's hard. When you hold it, you damp some of the resonant frequency, but hear the pitch? That's this frame's resonant frequency. If I take these tweezers, this will be very obvious. Oh, nope. Right? Everything has a resonant frequency. Most objects, the resonant frequency of these tweezers doesn't matter. I'm never going to bolt a motor and a propeller and a gyro to these tweezers and try to fly them through the air. Right? So like usually resonant frequencies don't matter, but sometimes they do, right? Bridges, resonant frequency of a bridge matters quite a bit. Ever see the picture of the bridge doing this? That was because the wind triggered the resonant frequency of that bridge, and it fed into itself and got bigger and bigger and bigger until the damn thing fell down. Smokestacks, chimneys, they have a resonant frequency. That matters. They put those coil things up them so that the same shit doesn't happen. And yeah, everything in FPV has a resonant frequency. Because we're running a gyro, it really matters. And because we have a PID loop, the resonant frequency matters. Tiny whoops, we're very lucky that they're so small. The resonant frequency is very high. High resonant frequencies are very easy to filter out, and they're very far away from the actual movement of the quad. The movement of the quad kind of has its own resonant frequency, but it happens down below 200 hertz. So any frame-based or motor propeller-based resonant frequencies that are above 200 hertz are easy to drop a filter onto and ignore. One of the problems with 7-inch and above rigs is that the arm length and the blade length of the propellers are so long that the resonant frequency becomes low enough that it's down below 200 hertz. And now it's a pain in the ass. This is one of the reasons why those rigs are such a bitch to tune, because they've got resonant frequencies down in the range of the physical motion of the quad. So if you decide to filter if you decide to put a filter on 100 to 110 hertz, if you do a stick input and your rates are set that this thing is going to be rotating at 100 hertz, well, now what? you've got a filter trying to filter that physical motion out that you're telling it to do. It becomes really confusing. But yeah, tiny whoops are one of the many reasons that tiny whoops are magic, is that the resonant frequencies involved are super high and super easy to filter out. So we don't really have many issues with filtering on tiny whoops. It is very easy. You can run stock filters and you're pretty much good to go. And you can be pretty aggressive with the PIDs before you run into issues. So yeah, one of the many very cool things on tiny whoops. Alexander Lewis Hughes says, any update on whether Timmons has finished the Batwing for Module 7 V4 and V3? Not quite yet. He sent me a couple of pictures the other day. He's still working on it. He's doing some cool stuff with it, actually. One of the things he's looking at doing is setting it up with screw holes, kind of like the Module 6 V3 mounts. So you'll be able to screw a Runcam Nano 3 or the new FXT camera or the Walksnail light camera or the HDZero lightweight camera, or I don't think the Lux camera has the screw holes in it. The Lux camera does not have the screw holes in it. But there's 4 cameras that you'll be able to screw mount to a Batwing mount for a 75. That's pretty cool, isn't it? I didn't even think of that. Timmons is a smart guy. And so, you know, you won't be able to screw mount like a CO3 camera to it. Maybe we can convince him to make a separate version of that Batwing for the CO3. But yeah, I'm excited for that. One of the things he's trying to do is keep it as light as possible. And that just takes a little bit of time. But it's coming. He's working on it. Bagzilla says, you're absolutely right. 75 millimeters all day for HDZero AIO5. The AIO5 65 millimeter build that I had, which was on this frame, Cockroach V3 with these motors, the Weebleed 0702 40,000s. It flew great. These motors make so much power. The 65 millimeter setup is just dialed. It flew fantastic. The runtime sucked, right? I was only getting like a minute and 50-second runtime, but it flew great inside the house. 75 millimeter builds just don't fly as good. We don't have like the perfect motor yet. And I'm a lot less impressed with the way that this flies. It does fly better outside, and it does fix the runtime problem with the bigger batteries, and like if you put enough batteries through this, you do get used to it. But in terms of just like raw flight characteristics, as always with these 75s, the main issue is the response time. They're just sloppy. The response time is slow. They're not snappy. You really notice that flying them inside the house, where everything happens so fast and you got to be on it, and like a couple less milliseconds of response time can be the difference between you smacking into the wall and not smacking into the wall. And most of the flying that I've done on this so far has been inside the house. Once I put a bunch of batteries outside the house, I'm sure I'll be a little bit more impressed with this. But fair warning, just like all of the other 1S 75 millimeter rigs, I'm just not blown away. It's 7 out of 10, maybe, let's say. For most people, my version of a 7 out of 10 is amazing. I have incredibly high standards, though. So, yeah. I do think... but, again, the AIO5 setup in the 65 millimeter frame, I never flew it because it just doesn't do anything better than the analog rigs inside the house. This outside the house, there's a chance that I might take apart all of the analog 75 millimeter rigs, other than Cloudhopper's. His will stay together forever because he so kindly built it and sent it to me and told me to keep it. But yeah, the AIO5 setup is not that much more expensive than like an X12. And if you're going to stay 1S and have a 75 millimeter 1S rig, the perfect ultimate 75 millimeter 1S rig, you could make a very strong argument that that is an AIO5 build. You know what I'm saying? It's only a little bit heavier. The 75 millimeter rigs deal with that extra weight really, really well. And so, yeah, just because I'm not totally blown away by the flight characteristics of this doesn't mean that this isn't the ultimate 75 millimeter 1S outdoor rig. Also, Jungle Gym Basher. This is kind of the ultimate although a jungle gym is a known quantity, just like inside your house is a known quantity, and it's easy to see a jungle gym. So I think analog would actually make more sense for a jungle gym basher. So maybe, Cloudhopper's build is the ultimate jungle gym basher. This is the ultimate 75 1S outdoor rig because Scraggle, right? The advantage of HDZero is slightly better video quality. That's going to see Scraggle earlier. And so, yeah, specific uses for specific builds, right? Like, in my opinion, don't build a build just for the sake of building it, right? I want to try something different. The 65 Pro, perfect example. This doesn't do anything good. There's no reason for this in my opinion and in the experience that I've had with it. This, on the other hand, yeah, this is if you want to stay 1S and if you want something for out in front behind the house and you don't want to be ramming into Scraggle, this is it. You could make the argument that the Walksnail version of the 1S that I've got somewhere around here it is, would be even better, but Walksnail is another like 4 grams, which really hurts the runtime, and I become a little bit iffy. I think this HDZero 1S75 will fix the runtime problem with the Walksnail rig and give you just good enough video quality. There's no argument to the fact that a Walksnail build is going to give you much better video quality than HDZero. So if you really want to see the Scraggle, it's going to be an HDZero build. But because of the extra weight, we run into problems with runtime on the 450 mAh1S batteries, and this is lighter and kind of solves that issue. I'll be interested to see what kind of runtime this gets outside. I'm going to assume it's going to get like 2 minutes and 40 seconds. I always like to try to get builds to the 3-minute mark, but the 2-minute mark is where I really draw the line. If I can get a build to like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, that's okay. 2 minutes and below, though, that's obnoxious. I don't like that. It takes me like a minute to get warmed up, and then if I only have 1 minute of flying in that like nice kind of flow state, that's just not quite enough. It's also really hard on the batteries. Taking a battery that's fully charged and running it all the way down in 2 minutes, that's abusive. Those batteries are not going to last super long, and that just gets a little bit obnoxious. So, yeah. Uriel says, can be a good testing pod. Raging Leet says, use the repair SD card in the goggles to reformat it or in your PC. That's a great idea. I have not reformatted this memory card in a little while. It hasn't been that long, though. I did actually reformat this memory card as recently as maybe like 2 months ago. But it's a really good idea to reformat memory cards as often as you possibly... You kind of can't do it too often. I have a bunch of flight footage on this card that I haven't pulled off of it yet, but actually a bunch of the flight footage that I meant to watch, that I meant to play on Friday's live stream is still on this card. We can watch that here today. I flew the analog 1S rigs a bunch, and I wanted to talk about them. This is actually a really decent stream to do that. So, cool. Good call, Raging Leet. We will watch some of this flight footage, and then I'll be able to reformat this card. That'll probably fix the issue. I mean, if I just put this card in the goggles and start flying, it'll probably now magically record, because that's how FPV is, right? Like, problems will just be there one day, and then you go to sleep and you wake up and the problem is magically just not there anymore for another couple of weeks, and then it pops back for absolutely no reason, and then you go to sleep again, and then the problem's gone again, right? That is the true FPV experience. But still, reformatting a memory card, you can't reformat a memory card often enough. And so, yeah, now's a great time to do that. Good call, dude. Very, very, very good call. Uriel says, you're a bit stressed, but the best. Thank you, dude. Zeft says, wait, try 85 millimeters and the AIO5. I won't do that because 75 millimeters is already too big for 1S. 85 millimeters is going to be way over the line. 1S is not the answer for 85 millimeters. 1S is not really the answer for 75 millimeters. As we've found recently, these 2S 75 millimeter rigs are absolutely incredible. They fix the runtime problem. They fix the power problem with 1S 75s. The AIO5 board is 1S only. And yeah, a 1S 85 millimeter tiny whoop is going to be a mess. That's going to make a lot of the problems that this has even worse. So it's going to be significantly worse than what I'm already not super happy with. So yeah, I don't recommend that anybody does that. If you're going to go all the way up to, I don't necessarily recommend that anybody go to 85 full stop. The 75s make plenty of power. There's a lot of advantages to them being lighter. The only real reason that I can see to go up to 85 is if somehow the 2S 75 millimeter rigs don't have enough power for you. I have a hard time believing that because, good God, the power to weight ratio is ridiculous on this. But if for some reason you want even more power than this, then yeah, maybe the 85 is the way to go. I really don't like how much additional duct is in. I already don't like how much duct is in view on the 75s. On the 85s, it's even worse. So that really bugs me. Maybe that doesn't bug you, but yeah, that bugs the hell out of me. And yeah, motor selection on 85 is a whole new world that we need to dive into, right? Like, we're just figuring out the right motors on these 75s. Having to do that all over again on 85s for not a whole lot of benefit. I'll get there eventually. But yeah, 85 doesn't do a whole lot better. What I will say is if you're trying to lift like an Insta360 Go 2 or an Insta360 Go 3, if you're trying to lift a payload that's like 20 plus grams or even 30 plus grams, yeah, absolutely, 85 millimeter rig. The 75s lifting 20 plus gram payloads, they don't feel great. They feel like you're flying a lifter, thus the tiny lifters being named tiny lifters. So if you're trying to like freestyle a 20 plus gram payload, yeah, okay, the 85 millimeter is gonna be probably about right. But I haven't been doing that, and I'm pretty happy with the analog flight footage out of these. If I want a little bit better, I've got the Walksnail. The Walksnail 2S rig absolutely rails, and the quality of the flight footage is outrageously good. But if you want even better than that Walksnail quality, yeah, 85 might be the way to go. The O4 system, the O4 light system that it's looking like we're going to get at some point here, apparently it's going to be a 10 gram payload. That's going to be right in between 75 and 85. I think 75 is still going to be the way to go for that, because there's a lot of benefits to keeping these things as light as possible. But there'll be an even stronger argument for 85 there. But HDZero doesn't make any sense on an 85 millimeter rig. HDZero is nice and lightweight. Basically, HDZero with the AIO5, it's split between you want to do either 65 or 75. No reason to go to 85. Walksnail is pretty much dead bang on 75. Yes, you can do 65 with it, but it's better. It's best suited for 75. A 10 gram payload, now you're kind of in between 75 and 85, still closer to 75 being the right size. A 20 gram payload, now you're solidly in between 75 and 85. Ultimate lightweight, you want to be at 75. More comfortable flying, better flight characteristics for freestyle, you would definitely want to go 85 for that heavy of a payload. So there you go. The payload is the thing. The payload and runtime are two of the biggest considerations for what propeller size that you go with. Flight characteristics are also in there, but if you get the right powertrain, you can get good flight characteristics with any propeller size. But a heavy enough payload will never fly good on too small of a propeller. A specific runtime target you will never get to with too small of a propeller. If you want a 10-minute runtime, you're never going to get there with a 65mm tiny whoop. Batteries do not exist that are big enough to get that job done, right? And so flight time and payload, those are two things that can become non-negotiable in terms of propeller size. And along that same line of thinking, with those two things, runtime and payload, there's going to be a perfect propeller size. And that, in my opinion, like the biggest chunk of like flight performance and like having a rig that does exactly what you want it to really well is in those two things. And I've spent a lot of time over the years figuring that out, right? And it's been my honor to dump all that info on you guys and get feedback from you guys too, right? Like this chat and the Discord, I learned a lot from you guys, right? We share this and we try different stuff together, and you guys bounce ideas off me, and some of them I test, some of them I explain to you why I've kind of already tested and won't necessarily work, but it's been this is a hell of a community, and we've really figured out some of these setups that are, ultimate, right? I try not to use that word until I really do have a setup that is fully dialed in. This AIO5 75 front yard backyard flyer formula happened really quickly because I've already done all the work on the 75mm analog builds, and this is only like 2 grams heavier. Right, so I was able to, like, the title of the live stream, right, is Ultimate AIO5 75mm build. That's what this is. Although we are going to talk about motor selection in a little bit. This is currently on 802 33,000 kV motors, and I think that these are like if you pinned me down and said like you could only have one motor choice for the Ultimate AIO5 75, these would be it. But a very close second place, and or if you're flying a little bit differently, the best motor setup for this would be either the RC & Power 1002 22,000s or the Beta FPV 1102 22,000s. Basically, those motors are lower KV, but it's a bigger, gruntier stator. And so those rigs are going to cruise, or basically, easiest way to put it is if you want to do a lot of full throttle stuff and fly and change your elevation a lot, the 802 33,000s or 30,000s or even 27,000s are the way to go. If you want to keep your elevation and just travel, go faster forward, back, left, and right, the 1002, 1102 setup is going to be better for you. Same conversation that we've been having with analog 75mm rigs. The bigger, wider motors stay cooler, and so you can put the nose down and just charge around the yard and charge around the neighborhood at 30 miles an hour the entire battery. And those motors, since they're wider, they're a better heat sink, they're going to stay cooler. The problem is those motors are too low of a KV. You don't get that really good flight performance when you try to throw it, when you try to push against gravity and increase your elevation to like throw up over trees and stuff like that. Also, you don't get as much peak speed. These motors are a much higher KV. They will turn a much higher RPM. So at the top of the throttle, this rig will go faster, but the motors will get hotter because they're smaller. Similar thing with like 2306s versus 2207s. 2207s will make more power, but they will get hotter earlier. 2306s will stay cooler because they're wider and shorter. So the 2306 is a more it's a more consistent motor because it's going to stay cooler, and when magnets get hot, they perform a lot worse. Same sort of scenario here. But these 802 33,000s, I think these are really the way to go. If you can only build one, they're efficient enough. The extra RPM that they give you is really nice for doing like the more three-dimensional kind of moves. And it's just a better balanced kind of rig. The 1002s, the 1102s, you're adding weight. You're sacrificing KV. There is a set of 24,000 kV 1002, 24, 25,000. I forget who makes them. Maybe Gep RC. The problem with those is that since you've added weight going from 802 to 1002, you're gonna lose runtime. And so like those motors, I think are gonna, like with these motors, the all up weight is lower, so you get a little bit better runtime from them. Versus the 1102, 1002 setup, they stay cooler, so you get a little bit more runtime there. If you combine those things, higher KV and the heavier motor, now the runtime is gonna suffer, and now you're gonna be. So I don't know if I'll test those new. Who am I kidding? I'll certainly test those new 1002s when they're the higher KV 1002s when they're available. But yeah, don't hold your breath. I think that 22,000 kV 1002s or 1102s, I think that's the max that you want to go KV. That is the motor for just flying like an RC car and just railing up and down the street, which is super fun. Don't get me wrong, like I'm not shit talking that. It's super fun to fly that way. I just personally, I love doing those full throttle throws up over stuff. If you don't, this is an easy decision. But for me, yeah, these 802 33,000s are magic. Morton Upshot says, in the name of science, fly the HDZero goggles now without changing anything to see if it records. Yep, that's the plan. As soon as the very first thing I'm doing is taking this memory. I mean, I can take the memory card out right now because there's nothing on it of value. As soon as I fly this rig, it's going to be on these goggles, and we're going to see exactly that. We're going to see if it records anything. I bet you it records, and I bet you it's totally fine magically because that is the way FPV works. Render says, did you long press on accident? The new firmware has the ability to change button functions. I didn't, and it said REC up there, so it was whatever. Uriel says, test it. Raging Leet says, your SD card is most likely corrupted. I saw the SD icon on the stream a lot last time. Repair and reformat in the goggles and or PC. We'll see. It's super weird that it recorded that first battery and then didn't record any after that. That's awkward. YouTube did the thing and scrolled me down. I'm scrolling back up to find my place. Uriel says, don't go whoa, call the coach. What's that mean? Alexander Lewis Hughes says, maybe try some SD recovery software just to see if they're actually on there still. Most you can preview without paying. That's an interesting idea. Don't I have... Yeah, SanDisk software. Do I have it still installed here? SanDisk. Super quick. Let's see. Super quick. Stellar photo recovery. Oh, is it gonna do like a proper installation? Can I get a channel? Says boo. Invest Stars says just got a Cetus X. Can't wait for it to show up. Do you think it's necessary to start from so low, or can I go straight to mini whoop style. I don't know what that means. I don't know what start from so low means. I also don't know what mini whoop style is. Tell me more, InvestStars. Tag me again and ask that question differently. I don't know what either one of those things mean. Sorry. Denzel the Terrible says, only my mother calls me Daniel. Uriel says, my Patreon is on hold because of my CC fight. It's that one. No sweat, brother. Bad says, missed the beginning and was in the garage. Nothing like catching up on 1.5 speed, lol. Stellar photo recovery is installing, and it's not forcing me to do a big, annoying install and restart the computer, which is awesome. Let's see. Stellar photo recovery app. This is SanDisk's recommended application for doing this. I would love it if the files were just magically on there, but what's weird is everything's weird. I agree. Initializing. Great. All right. Stellar photo recovery. Work. Denzel the Terrible says, knowing the difference between wants and needs is a big thing. That it is. Uriel says, it's also a bad time of the year. Everyone is doing a play. Indeed. Rockcrawler says, what about the onesie? So I have this horrifying bright red onesie that every year the deal is there's a super chat goal, and if the super chat goal gets hit by the end of every hour of the 12-hour live stream, I have to keep that onesie on for the next hour. And so you guys can torture me by super chatting to the goal, and then I have to wear this stupid red onesie for typically the entire stream, but sometimes I'll get like a little bit of a reprieve, like an hour or two where I don't have to wear it, which is nice. Uriel says you can if you guys want the last 2 years 12-hour live streams they're here, they're immortalized forever. If you search my channel for like 12 hours of, I think I call it 12 hours of Christmas, you'll find them from last year and the year before. Uriel says you can bear everybody's cross. There are telephone groups to call people that are alone, etc. Nice to see you happy with the family. Thank you, dude. My parents did their best, Uriel says. The Enzo the Terrible says, 12-hour Christmas stream idea, make your tweezers fly. Himok says, why my Meteor65 Pro yaw to the right when I come out of a dive? It had wobble out of the box. I tried to tune it and got good result, but now the yaw washout issue is so annoying. It is too heavy and doesn't have enough power. This is one of the big problems with 75mm 1S rigs, is that they run out of power. If the powertrain does not have enough, if the powertrain cannot produce enough thrust for the weight of the rig, that's just what happens. That is why I've been so blown away by the 2S 75mm rigs, is that they don't have any of that nonsense. One of the things that you can do with your 75 Pro is switch the propellers. I found the HQ bi-blades performed a lot better. They're significantly lighter, which really helps with that. So do that because it's cheap. These are the HQ 45mm. They make them in bi and tri-blade. Get them both. It's only a couple bucks. Get a couple of sets of each. You'll probably like the bi-blades best. But yeah, these are the best props that I found on the 75 Pro. But yeah, no, I mean that's a problem with no solution. You can't PID tune that out. It's just, you know, the amount of voltage, the motor size, the motor kV, the size of the propeller does not make enough thrust for the weight of the rig. 2S is the solution. Unfortunately, you can't put 2S through that AIO that thing comes with. That's one of the things that makes the Mobula 7 1S ELRS magic, is that it's actually a 1S to 2S board. So you can buy that thing, put a 2S battery lead on it, swap the frame, and have the best flying 75mm rig that I've built in 8 years of doing this. Let's see. What to recover? Recover everything. Next. Sand Gold, where are you at? Oh God. I'll be able to tell by the size of it. 29 gigs. There it is. Generic mass, whatever. Scan. Let's see what we get. So the last file here. Oh, right. It has to unmount and remount. Yeah, we'll see what we get. Render says, stick that AIO5 on a 75mm Pro. Tried that. It doesn't fit. The AIO5 is a standard-sized AIO. All of the Beta FPV Pro frames, the 65 Pro and the 75 Pro, require you to run AIOs that are smaller than the standard size. So yeah, we tried that on Friday's stream and it didn't fit. We tried a bunch of frames on Friday's stream and the AIO5 does not fit in any of them. I can only get it to fit in the Happy Model frames, the Mobile 7 V4, and it would also fit in the V3, but there's no reason to put it in the V3 because that's a 2S frame. And so, yeah. 0 files found. That's not gone well. What? Okay. Software works great. Way to go, SanDisk. SanDisk used to have software that did work. But apparently this new software of theirs does not work at all. Not to mention that it when I hit recover on no files, it immediately took me to their website and said, purchase in order to recover. But it's saying that it's found 0 files, so this software is useless. Not super surprising. All right, well, way to go, SanDisk. You fail at life. I'm going to delete this software all the way. Oh, come on now. Let me delete it all the way. Let me delete it all the way. Go away. Die. All right. Killed it. This is what YouTube thinks that I should be streaming. YouTube generated a bunch of thumbnails based on my oh my god, fucking computer, you dirty bastard. Based on my previous live streams, and this is what YouTube thinks we should be doing. We should be severing Teddy's head and mounting it onto, looks kind of like a 3-inch rig. We should be putting goggles on Teddy. We should be mounting a quad to Teddy's neck. He should be standing behind some sort of an angry Mavic. He should be eating a Mavic that's the size of an actual school bus after he's become a giant as tall as the Empire State Building. YouTube thinks that we should build a drone into a set of goggles that we then make Teddy wear so that he can look through the goggles while flying forward rather than just using his eyes. YouTube thinks that I should throw Teddy high in the sky while flying a Mavic. I think this is my favorite. I think this is the winner. That's the one right there. That's it. That's the one. How does machine learning know to make such a happy looking dog? YouTube thinks that my Mavic should take Teddy for a walk. It thinks that Teddy should shrink down to be a miniature schnauzer and then he should ride on the back of a Mavic while wearing goggles, nonetheless. That we should strap rockets to Teddy's back and blindfold him with goggles so that he can't see where he's going. We should make a giant Mavic that Teddy can ride on. We're doomed, man. We're doomed. We're doomed. The computers, it's Terminator all over again, man. Skynet's coming. Skynet's coming. We're done. We're done. It'll be a combination between Skynet and the Matrix. Morpheus gonna be at our door, offering us some pills. We're done. We're done. Steve Sims says the AIO5 with jello at half throttle. Yeah, so after the live stream, I filed down the plastic post that was super close to the USB port, and there's now a gap. I didn't notice any jello, but I wasn't specifically paying attention. We will take a look when I start flying this here in a little bit. I have a suspicion, though. My suspicion is that the HQ 1.5 millimeter motor shaft bi-blades are not as well balanced as the tried and true GemFan 1610s. And so that's one of the other things we're going to do here today is switch this off of these HQ props back to the GemFan props to see if that jello goes away. I don't think it will. But yeah, we're gonna fly at some point here. I just got to get caught up on chat. Alexander Lewis Hughes says, after flying my 2S 75mm rig outside more in the winter scraggle, it has me thinking the DJI Lightboard might be amazing. Yeah, it will be. It will be. Right there, that is why the Walksnail 2S 75mm rig is like so magic. It's just, you can see everything, and it's got tons of power, and it's got great runtime, and it's just awesome. Max says, what motors did you try on the Meteor65 Pro Walksnail 1S build? What motors would you recommend for indoor in a small apartment? Small apartment, absolutely super easy build. Light. Lightweight is going to be everything. You want a motor that has a little bit of power, but lightweight is going to be absolutely magic for small apartments. I can say that being someone that lived for all of my 20s and all of my 30s in very small apartments. This gigantic house is a very new thing for me. So for small apartments, you want to be down in the 17 gram range, if not in the 16 gram range. The easy button is going to be to buy a Beta FPV Air 65. Amazing bind and fly. Get the racing one that's on the higher KV motors. That is the super easy button to having a tiny whoop that's going to work really well in a small apartment. If you want to do a custom build, Mobula 6 2024 is, so the Air 65 is a buy it, fly it setup. Don't upgrade it. It's not going to take upgrades well. The motors are direct soldered, which is stupid. The motors are taller, so they only really work well in that exact frame that it comes with. It's just a rig that you buy to fly, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to customize everything on Earth. You can change the propellers. The propellers make the biggest difference in flight performance anyway, so that's it. Air 65, buy it, leave it alone, try different propellers, and just fly the damn thing. If you want to go down the upgrading rabbit hole, Mobula 6 2024, you're going to then swap the frame to the Newbie Drone Cockroach Light AF. The motors that it comes with are pretty good. If you want more power, you're going to do the Weebleed or the Tiny Whoop 0702 motors. 32,000 kV minimum. The 36,000 kVs are also great. If you want all the power in the world, which you probably don't want in a small apartment, there's the 40,000 kV Weebleed motors. But 32,000 kV, like the Moon Travelers or the Weebleed Screamers. The only thing with the Weebleed Screamers is they're 1.5mm motor shaft now. So your prop selection is super limited at the moment to just this one single propeller, the Gemfan 1210 that they sell. It's a good prop, but with a super lightweight rig, you can get away with the 1mm motor shaft, especially in a small apartment because you probably have wall-to-wall carpeting, which is going to soften most of the crashes. But yeah, Mobula 6 2024, and then you can fully upgrade it. Light AF frame, higher KV 0702s, HQ ultralight tri-blade props, the new ones, the 1.2 by 0.9s. That's going to be a really, really good setup. The Mobula 6 2024 AIO is going to come with motor plugs. Don't unplug the antenna unless you absolutely have to. On both the Air 65 and the Mobula 6 2024. One of the sacrifices that they made for lightweight appears to be the strength of the UFL. Basically, they made the AIO thinner, and that has had a negative effect on the UFL port being able to stay attached to the board. So either just leave the antenna on there and just put a little blob of E6000, or if you're desperate to modify it, take the antenna off once, put a good quality antenna on it, like the ORT Micro V, and then again E6000 over the UFL sits like this. Do a blob of E6000 over top of the UFL to keep that antenna plugged in there, and then you'll be fine. On both of those boards, in short order, if you keep unplugging the antenna and plugging in antennas, you will rip that UFL off, and that has the potential to make that board completely worthless if it rips the trace off with it. Christopher Blackledge says, I'm abusive. Damn it, I'll treat a battery like I never had a mama. I play. Rob Oxison says, hola. Uriel says, the road towards has to be fun to enjoy the moment. Indeed it does. Rob Oxison says, Dan ran into some autocross club guys from Charleston. Very cool. Cars, action, super cool, but no one was driving manual transmissions. That's super sad. What the hell's that about? I did a little bit of autocrossing in Charleston, but that was when I really started to run out of money. Most of my autocross history is up in South Jersey region. SJR. YouTube did the thing again, scrolling back up. There we go. Bent FPV says, hey, got my gangly fan package. Appreciate it. Got some Weebleed 465s coming for my 65 Walksnails. What do you think about them? They're awful heavy. You don't want to crash with them, but for cruising, they're awesome. You'll get like over a minute more runtime. Just do not crash with those batteries. Raging Leet says, you do better with a HDD data recovery utility that properly scans the drive, not going to lie. I might take a look after the stream. No promises, though. Where's that memory card even? Did I put it back into the goggles? Took it out and put it back into the goggles. Was the memory card not even inserted, and that's why the software couldn't find any files? I don't think the memory card was on the computer. I just deleted the software and everything. Oh, well. Sometimes you eat the bear. Sometimes the bear eats you. Reinstalling the software, because I'm curious. And it was weird that it said 0 files. Why did it give me it showed the memory card still being there? It's because of the way that I pulled it out of the computer. I didn't drag it to the trash and do the thing. That's embarrassing. No, it's not. I don't care. Stellar photo application. Open. Nope. You guys don't even get to see how many characters in that. Since it was quick, we'll try it again. Rybread says, Teddy POV running around, mount a Walksnail rig onto his collar. That'd be super fun. It would get too hot, though. He would have to run. Yeah, the other problem is that people have mounted cameras to cats and dogs and shit. It bounces all around. The Insta360 goes. The stabilization is finally good enough where there are some really cool cat POV videos here on YouTube that are actually watchable. But doing it with a Walksnail, it would just bounce around so much it wouldn't be watchable. Himok says, I think I will build the 2S 75mm you built. Quick recap of the parts. It's just a X12 AIO. X12 AIO, whatever camera and canopy you want. 0802, 19,000, 18,000, 20,000 kV motors in that range. BT 3.0 cable. Tiny Whoop. 2S 300 mAh BT 3.0 batteries. And then the Mobula 7 V3 frame. You are also going to need a you're going to need motor risers and M1.4 by 4 screws. I will have those screws at some point. I ordered them on the stream the other day. Really? It's going to take 30 hours to scan the fucking card? What is this? Mickey Mouse bullshit. Okay, that's a bit much. Yeah, that's about it, though. Yeah, you got to rise the motors up. I have 1mm risers. You can also get those 1mm risers if you buy a Meteor 65 or 75 airframe. Unbelievably, the risers don't come with the screws that you need. But yeah, there's that. So I will have the screws and the risers soon, but I don't at the moment. I have the risers, I don't have the screws at the moment. Cheetonian says, the AIs will take over only to use all of the Earth's resources to meme at each other at the speed of light. Yeah, agreed. Sam said, no, the AI won't be dumb enough to make memes. Sam says, I don't know if you already answered. I want to build a 2S75, but I only have 2S550 mAh. Are those too much? Yeah, they're too heavy. Even the 2S450s are too heavy. The 2S300s are absolute magical mystery batteries that, yeah, it's amazing. The 2S450s, it'll fly, but the flight characteristics are nowhere near as good as with the lighter weight batteries. Just because we have all this power on 2S doesn't mean we can ignore the all-up weight. The all-up weight is still very important. I've got 2 of these 2S builds for testing. One of them is like 1.8 grams heavier because of the 1002 motors than the 802 rig. I can absolutely feel a difference when flying in tight quarters between these 2 rigs. And I legitimately like the way that this one flies better on the 802s. It's just the right weight. And yeah, they're both great. Don't get me wrong. And they both blow all of the 1S75s completely out of the water. But yeah. Christopher Blacklight says, CiottiFPV and everyone broke a UFL on an HDZero whoop, so first time I directly soldered that bad boy, and yes, it works. Not sure if I recommend such a thing, but needed an HDZero quad. Yeah, sometimes when the UFLs break off, they don't rip the traces off with them, and you can direct solder an antenna. I have an analog RC car chasing rig that has the, it's from a Mobula, it's the AIO from a Mobula 6 2024. That didn't rip the trace off, and I was able to direct solder an antenna. It's great, but then having the direct soldered antenna is a total pain in the ass, for the record. Eventually, you're going to want to put a different canopy on it, and it's not going to work, and you're like, shit. So it's super annoying when that happens, but yeah, sometimes when it happens, it doesn't take the trace with it, and you can at least permanently solder an antenna on it. Max says, I'm on Walksnail, so looking for motor recommendations for a Meteor65 Pro specifically. The best advice that I can give is to not build a Meteor65 Pro. The 65 Pro frame is not very strong. The propeller size doesn't make any sense. The battery bay is only going to hold a 300 mAh battery, which is not big enough for how heavy this frame is, for how draggy the propellers are. So the absolute biggest thing that I can recommend to help you build something that actually flies good is to get rid of the 65 Pro frame and those 35mm propellers. They are only going to cause you problems, and the way you're going to have to build for the extra weight, for the extra drag, is going to leave you with motors that don't really work on anything else. All that being said, the actual answer to your question is 0802 33,000 kV motors. That is going to end you up with a rig that is, so you're on Walksnail, so you're already adding 6 grams with Walksnail, so you're going to end up with a rig that has about 1 minute and 30-second runtime, which is going to completely demolish your batteries. The flight performance isn't really going to be all that good. And yeah, like sum total, that rig is just going to be super annoying. What you want to do is decide, do you want to fly this thing exclusively inside, or do you want to fly it outside as well? If you exclusively want to fly it inside, I've done a couple of 65mm Walksnail builds, and those are the formulas. You're going to get 2 minutes or so runtime, so it's going to be better runtime than if you were to try to do it on a 65 Pro. It's still bordering on... You'll at least get good flight performance during that 2 minute runtime. So on anybody's YouTube channel, there's a little magnifying glass here. It's kind of hard to see, but when you click it, it gives you the search option. This is going to search just on this person's channel. So if I search my channel for 65 Walksnail, you're going to find this live stream. This is when I already have both of those builds done, as you can see in the thumbnail here, right? On the left is the little RC drift car chasing rig. On the right is the freestyle Walksnail 65 rig. There's a whole bunch of live streams about this, though. Will a 65mm Walksnail build rip? In all of these, I talk you through the combination of parts. Here's a bunch of the motor testing that I did, 36,000 and 33,000 kV. Here's where I started the build, 1S 65mm Walksnail build begins. So yeah, lots and lots of content on those builds. They are specifically indoor only. Yes, you can fly them outside, but now you're going to get really low run times and you're going to really hammer on your batteries. So if you want to do an indoor only build, that's what you want to do. If you want a Walksnail build that you can also fly outside, it's my 2S build. Do the exact same search. You're going to search for 75 Walksnail 2S. I went deep down the rabbit hole trying to do that build on 1S, which is this right here, and it's just not good enough. When you go to 2S, it becomes light years better, and it's actually something that's really fun to fly outside. The 1S Walksnail build outside is just obnoxious. Again, going through all of that with a 65 Pro build, you're going to get nothing good. You're going to get none of the good indoor performance. You're going to get none of the good outdoor performance. You're going to end up with something that's like not bad, but just like below average at all of the things. And that's just kind of silly. This is not the way to go. There is no setup with the 65 Pro that really makes any sense. You end up with something that, yeah, it doesn't do anything well. Unfortunately, I've tried multiple times with the 65 Pro in the past, and I mean, on top of everything else, the frame is fragile. So you're going to break these frames all the time, especially now that it's cold, which is just so stupid because every time you break one of these frames, you have to take everything apart, and it's just dumb. 65 Pro makes no sense. Don't do it. You're just setting yourself up for you know, an annoying experience that doesn't fly good, and you know. One of the greatest things that you can do, and the only reason to custom build these rigs, is to build something that flies really good, that flatters you and helps you learn better. Having something that doesn't fly very good and flies for very short amounts of time is going to completely handcuff you and your ability to learn to fly and to have fun. And you're going to spend more money on batteries because it's going to destroy them all the time, and you're going to spend a ton of money in frames. You're going to waste a ton of time repairing it, yada, yada, yada. It's going to drastically, look, FPV is already damn near impossible. Don't sign your own death warrant and force yourself to get out of FPV because you tried to be different and make a 65 Pro work. It just won't. Like, no offense, but you don't know more than me when it comes to FPV. And so the chances of you finding some magical 65 Pro setup that's better than what I've been able to do over the last 8 years is slim to nil. So yeah. Weebleed says we have more options in 1.5 millimeter props. Zotek, I was holding off saying anything because you told me that you had some stuff on the way. Do you already have it? Is this it? Nope. Looks like Zotek spilled the beans. They're not available yet, but yeah, he spilled the beans, so I can say, well, just read his comment. We have more options in 1.5 millimeter props. There you go. I'm not seeing them up here quite yet, but yeah, certainly sounds like from what he just said that they're on their way, doesn't it? Thank you, Zotek. Denzel the Terrible says, you selected the 30 gigabyte volume, so it must have been in CiottiFPV. No, that's the card. It's a 32 gig card. I selected that same option here now that I have the card inserted into the actual card reader, and it's going. It's at 60% now. So yeah, it still thought the card was in there, but it wasn't. My bad. Cheetonian says, sometimes you're the windshield, sometimes you're the bug. Raging Leet says, highly recommend switching to .ts over MP4 to avoid file loss. If you can use FFmpeg, it takes seconds to convert to MP4. Yeah, I've bounced back and forth between TS and MP4. I'm not convinced that that this problem has anything to do with MP4. With MP4, here, as an example, the problem with MP4 is this file right here, for example. This is a file where I powered the goggles off before unplugging the quad. And it doesn't write the timestamp for the full length of the file, and you end up with a corrupt, an unfinished, unreadable file like this. That's the problem with .mp4. The problem with MP4 is not the files just not showing up ever. Right, like this is a like the goggles issue. I'm pretty sure that saving in .ts will not fix this problem that I had yesterday with these goggles. I think that there is a bug in the goggles that, for whatever reason, sometimes when it finishes DVRing a file, it just deletes the file for no reason. I'm pretty sure that back when I was using .ts, I had this issue where a bunch of files just didn't show up on the memory card. We'll see in a little bit whether or not those files are buried on the card here. I won't be able to recover them without paying, and I'm not really willing to pay, but yeah, maybe it'll get done before the end of the live stream. And just like that, we're caught up on chat. Just 1 hour and 44 minutes later, I'm caught up on chat. Raging Leet says, .ts files save differently to MP4. TS doesn't get corrupted if you power off, but the MP4 will. Right, yep, that's what I just mentioned. But I don't think, like I said, I don't think TS would have fixed this problem. I'm somewhat willing to revisit .ts, though. FFmpeg. All right, I'm going to leave this open in a tab. Okay, now, finally, we shall fly. I've got a bunch of 1S 450 mAh batteries. We're going to try a couple of different propellers. So, in case you weren't here at the beginning of the stream, this is the ultimate HDZero AIO5 build, in my opinion. The benefits of HDZero, the benefits of this AIO5 flight controller over analog flight controller, in the long story short, is slightly better video quality, right? Analog versus HDZero, roughly the same latency. Certain analog cameras have slightly more latency than HDZero, but if you, yeah, no, it's very close. There's not enough of a difference in latency, or no difference whatsoever, to say that HDZero is better from a latency standpoint, in my opinion. The main difference is HDZero has a little bit better image quality than analog. Inside the house, that slightly better image quality doesn't do you any good. There's no scraggle inside of your house, and your couch is going to be in the same spot. So flying analog inside the house after a bunch of batteries, you're going to have a mental image of where your couch is, and you're going to stop hitting your couch. Unless you're me, then you'll keep hitting it forever. HDZero is not going to help that at all. Outside the house, now we're talking. There's scraggle outside the house. There's changing conditions outside the house. The leaves are coming off the trees. There's all kinds of things where being able to see better with better quality video is going to improve your flying outside the house. If you don't have a set of analog goggles, but you do have HDZero goggles, sure. AIO5 65mm rig for inside the house, I totally get it. If you have analog goggles, though, analog 65mm rigs are king inside of the house. Better runtime, better power to weight ratio, less expensive, more durable, right? Lots and lots and lots of benefits to staying with analog if you already have the goggles for flying 65s inside the house. The ultimate AIO5 build, as far as I'm concerned, is a 75, because 75s will carry a bigger battery, and they perform better outside the house because they make more thrust, and that will allow you to fight the wind better. So, as far as I'm concerned, this right here is the ultimate AIO5 build. This is a Mobula 7 V4 frame, which is the only frame that I've found without significant modifications the AIO5 will fit in, right? It's also just a great frame. So, Mobula 7 V4 frame. 450 mAh 1S BT 2.0 batteries. There's the Beta FPV Lavas. There are the Weebleeds, which I can't run on this build because this battery lead is a little bit too short, so I can only really run these Lava batteries, but that's fine. There's a bunch of different 1S builds. There's a Tiny Whoop 1S 450 mAh battery. BT 2.0, they all fly the same. Whatever store you're ordering from, they're going to have a BT 2.0 450. Snag those batteries. My favorite canopy is the old school Mobula 6 canopy, which will work with the lighter weight HDZero camera. I love these ORT micro V antennas. The stock whip antenna is totally fine. I'm not super impressed with the HDZero connection, and the way that HDZero breaks up is like cancer to me. So for me, a good antenna is important, and I love these ORT micro Vs. AIO5, AIO, of course, BT 2.0 battery lead, absolutely important. And then the motors. Ooh, it's done. It's done. Let's see. What the fuck are these file names? What is this bullshit? What are these file names? What is this nonsense? What? This software is worthless. I can't tell anything from these file names. Wow. What a waste of time. What a complete waste of time. What? It's a complete waste of time. Wow. Okay, whatever. I had it right the first time. Wow. Hey, that makes me feel better. Teddy strapped to a quad. Oh, I forgot to play these flight files again. God damn it. The motors are up for debate. I think the best motors are going to be the Tiny Whoop 0802 33,000s. Problem with those motors is they only have a 1mm motor shaft. You can buy another set of Tiny Whoop or Weebleed, basically Happy Model motors, with a 1.5mm motor shaft and swap the bells onto the 33,000 kV stators. That's what I've done here. The easy button for doing that is to get the Happy Model RS 0802 motors. They have the lightest weight bells, and they're the cheapest of the Happy Model 0802s. You're going to pull a C-clip on the bottom, pull the bell off, swap the bells, away you go. That's this setup. At the moment, this is on the brand new HQ 1.6 by, I believe it's 1.2 by 2 bi-blades. I'm not totally sold on these props yet. We're going to try switching this thing back to the GemFan 1610 props after we fly a little bit. But let's fly it on these propellers. Basically, it's starting to seem like the GemFan props are better balanced, which does matter. These props are lighter weight, so the response time is a little bit quicker. These props make a little bit less thrust, though. I like the power that the GemFan props make, so we're going to play with that. But for right now, let's get this thing up in the air and start farting around. Shitballs. I need to plug the Elgato back in here to get that HDZero video into OBS. It is cold in this basement. All right. HD60S Plus. There is HDZero. Let's plug it in, give it some actual signal. Wait, no, let me turn the transmitter on first so that ELRS doesn't take forever to connect. Hemok says the Tiny Whoop 300s are sold out. Are the Beta BT 3.0 552S a good alternative? No, not at all. That battery will fly like ass. That battery is going to be almost twice as heavy. So it's going to fly pretty bad. Don't do that. Even the 450 mAh batteries are not a great alternative. They're still way too heavy. There he is. There he is! He has arrived. Let's start strapping quads to his back. All right, people. Oh, man, I forgot to turn the HDZero goggles on. Now they're going to take forever to connect. Let me eject this memory card, and we'll see if the HDZero goggles decide to magically work again. I'll bet you they don't. Maybe they do, though. Stop beeping. Stop beeping. Stop it! Thank you. No! Stop! These HDZero goggles are hard on batteries, yo. Hard on batteries. Oh, fuck you. Don't tell me I don't have another battery charge. No! Maybe we're not flying. Yeah, these goggles just absolutely demolish batteries. It's really insane. Hopefully this battery has enough juice in it. Let's see. I agree, off axis. I really do. I really, really do. More and more every day. Oh, God! Don't melt! Oh, he's freaking out. Teddy is just freaking out. Now I have to manually tell the goggles that I want to use HDZero because unbelievably they didn't build something into them that automatically searches between HDZero and analog. Now we're ready to go. Alright, well, we're not going to be flying much because every single goggle battery that I have is apparently dead. But this is the ultimate AIO5 build. It even flies decent inside the house. It's not great, and it's really meant for outdoor stuff, but as you can see, it is flyable inside the house. You gotta work harder. Okay. You gotta work a little bit harder. I'm so sorry for the beeping, guys. These, yeah, I get like 6 flight batteries per goggle oh, my goggles just turned off mid-flight. They just blacked out. Wow, that hit hard. That knocked a quad off the wall and everything. Jesus. Wow. That was something else. Hold on. And I'm assuming that it fell down back behind. Wait, no. It's right in front. There it is. Okay. Alright. Well. Man, I miss just Fat Shark and analog. DVR ain't great, but you hook up an immersion RC power play and it just works. Yeah. As FPV gets better, boy, does it get worse. I gotta try to scrounge around for a battery that's gonna drive these goggles. Hang on. I like just charged all these goggle batteries up. I don't understand how they're all dead already. I haven't been. Oh my god. Let me see what I got here. Nothing. Come on, man. Really? What about this one? I think this one went dead. Yeah, this one went dead last. Fuck! Dude! Come on! How is this possible? Hold on, I'm coming back. I swear to God, I'm coming back. I'm gonna find a battery somewhere that has a barrel plug on it. There's one somewhere. I'll find it. I'll find it. Give me a second. I just need a battery with a barrel plug. Come on. Battery with a barrel plug. Where are you at? What? Hey, who knows the max voltage that you can run into HDZero goggles? Anybody? Who knows it? Or who can look it up on Google real quick? I should have a 3S goggle battery around here. Where the hell is it? Oh my god, why is this life? Where the hell did that 3S goggle battery go? Hold on, I'm getting that Joshua Bardwell cable out. The battery in your pocket cable thing out. I assume I can use this. The problem's going to be, it's XT60. I don't think I have any XT60 batteries charged. Is this real life? My fucking phone alarm's going off. Jesus. Oh boy, what in the... How is this... What? Oh! Yeah. Yeah, I do have a battery with some juice in it with 6S. Let's see. What's the Bardwell thing output? 7 to 25. Amazing. That means I can run this little setup here. Maybe it'll blow the goggles up and I won't have to worry about why they're not recording anymore. Let's see. They didn't blow up! Yay! Alright, we're good. Oh, I hate having wires hanging off the goggles, though. I will survive. Okay. We're back in this. Alright. It thinks they're 2S. Okay. Let's fly the rest of this battery. Be all set. Hey! Hey. Alright. What do I do with this battery? With the wire? What do I do? Where do I put it? Put it over there? Put it over there. Okay. Right, let me cycle the power real quick here. Give you guys some rainbow. Yeah, I don't know. This camera, this is the lightweight camera. It really does something odd with the image. Somebody said, is the image stretched or whatever? I don't quite understand. Okay. Well. Is 6S not enough for these goggles? These goggles need more than 6S? Also, what is happening with the quad? Oh my god. Oh my god. Let me guess. The AIO5 decided to just randomly change to race 1 again for no reason. What? But why are the goggles? What? How? Jesus fucking Christ! Why are the goggles beeping? Why? Why are you beeping? This battery is outputting 22 volts. What else do you want? Oh, now this is beeping. I pulled the battery off the charger. I set the charger to charge at 5 amps, and it put a bunch of juice into this battery remarkably quickly. Let's see if there's just enough. Boy, oh boy. A lot of sacrifices to get the good DVR quality with these HDZero goggles. I gotta be honest. Oh, Jesus, this quad is plugged in. Alright, so almost certainly the AIO5 has done the incredibly frustrating thing that it does again, where it loses your video channel. So hold on, I need to now turn the HDZero goggles back on. I need to manually go in and tell them that I want them to use HDZero and not analog, because like I said earlier, unbelievably it doesn't automatically scan. Now I need to go down to race 1, where the AIO5 seems to always reset itself to. Oh, not this time, though. Oh, okay. Is the battery just dead, I guess? It wasn't dead when I... I didn't think it was dead when I landed it. Here's a fresh battery. No, the battery wasn't dead. It's at 3.85, but it was ready to be changed. Where's the video, HDZero? What has happened here? What channel have you magically, for no reason, changed yourself to this time? I'm going into the HDZero menu and going to scanning. Scanning is done. There is no video. I mean, it just says scanning done. That's it. It doesn't tell me. I'm assuming that means that there's nothing. You guys have no video, right? Wow. Maybe it's too hot. Let's blow on it for a second. Blowing on these AIOs cools them down remarkably quick. I know it seems like an insane thing to do, but it works really, really well. Alright. The manuals don't help. This is just things not working. This is not a manual problem. I'm on race 1, I've got no video. You guys are on race 8, you've got no video. Let's go back into the HDZero menu and scan again. Nothing. Nothing. Lots of people with these AIO5s have been having issues with them letting go exactly like this. Maybe this is finally it for mine. I don't have any other HDZero drones, so I can't do a quick test. Alright, I can feel that this AIO is not hot anymore. I've blown on it enough where it's not overheated. Let's put power back to it again. You guys are on race 8. I'm on race 1. Nothing. Wow. This is unreal. Jesus Christ. I am on the newest goggle firmware. Nothing. No signal from the quad. Well, I wish that I had a bunch of the DVR from yesterday that I could show you. I guess you guys got 14 seconds of me flying. Wow. Let me try power cycling the goggles, I guess. All right, goggles have been power cycled. Powering the quad back up. Manually changing the source to HDZero, which is on race 1. Nothing. Going back into scan now. I mean, it just says scanning done. I assume that means that it didn't find any video, but I don't actually know. Yeah, I think this AIO5 died. There's not like anything else you can do, right? Like you give it power, and it's not a low power until first disarm thing. If it was, it's sitting right in front of me. It would still get at least a little bit of video. But just to test it, that was me arming and disarming. Yeah, no, there's nothing. This AIO5 has shit the bed. Which, yeah, I mean, that's not super surprising. Yeah, lots of people that have had the same experience with their AIO5s. That's a shame. I flew this. I probably did maybe 30 batteries, 30, maybe 40 batteries on this AIO5, which is not nearly enough, you know, for a $80 or $90 AIO before it lets go. I was just maybe I do think that this is the the ultimate AIO5 setup. But with how many people I've seen that have had these prematurely let go, I definitely can't recommend the AIO5 that you buy it. Yeah, that's a shame. That's super shame. Although I guess it held up just long enough for me to figure out what the right combination is. So if you're motivated enough to have an ultra lightweight HDZero tiny whoop, I think this is the setup. You guys got to see me fly it for the last 30 seconds of its life. Flies pretty damn good, right? Oh man, god damn it. Will FPV ever not be like this? Like, will there ever be a time that manufacturers put out products that consistently put out products that work? Like, it makes me want to scream every single time I see someone say, like, oh, I don't understand why FPV is not more popular. How can more people possibly not want to absolutely hate their lives more than they already do? How is that? That's so weird. It's so weird that people don't want another complete nightmare in their life. It's just like, oh my god. Man, that's super frustrating. That's super frustrating. Sorry guys, I really am. I'm really sorry. I wanted to put on a good live stream and show you how this thing flies and tell you, like, you know, if you have HDZero goggles, you're gonna love the way this thing flies. It's not as good as 2S, but and yeah, I'm not really able to do that, but I would definitely think twice before spending $80 or $90 on the AIO5 because I've seen a lot of them fail in under 100 batteries, which is that's unacceptable. You know, that's more than $1 per battery. That's absolutely insane. So yeah, I don't know. Craig Meyer with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, what AIO controller do you recommend for an analog 75mm build instead of HD? X12. Happy model X12, hands down. It works with one, unlike the HGLRC Spectre. It actually works if you try to run it on 1S, and it also works if you want to run it on 2S. And I do highly recommend, if you're going to fly a 75mm rig outside, which is what 75mm rigs are for, that you go 2S. I've been talking about the 2S build, the 2S analog 75mm build ad nauseum over the last like 2 weeks. So loads and loads and loads of live stream content surrounding those 2S analog 75 builds. That's my recommendation. They fly unbelievable. It is so much fun. So much fun. Matter of fact, I'm going to fly one of them inside the house. They're not for indoor flying, but they're so good and the response time is so quick that they're actually significantly easier to fly inside the house than 1S 75mm builds. Still nowhere near as good as 65mm builds inside the house, but yeah, staggeringly good. Since no electronics ever work, of course I have to unplug and replug this VRX. So weird, FPV just never caught on. I don't get it. It's only the biggest nightmare ever, but it just won't catch on. I don't understand. How could that be? How could everyone possibly not want to torture themselves like this? This is basically a Mobula 7 1S with a battery lead and a frame swap. 802, 19,000 kV motors, motor limited down to 85%. Mobula 7 V3 frame. And that's pretty much it. HQ 1.6 by 1.2 by 2. Jesus Christ. Bi-blades. All right, so with these HQ props, I have had to back the tune off, which is the big... Oh, God. Jesus fucking Christ. I'm going to take these props off. I have not had luck with these HQ props. I'm going to put GemFan 1610s back on. Oh, wow, man. This is something else. This is something fucking else. These props have only had like 2 batteries flown through them too, so they're not bent up. That was me unplugging the drone first. The goggles no longer say REC up in the top corner. I'm going to take the SD card out of the goggles. I'm going to put it into the little card reader. And we're going to see if maybe at least the goggles have magically fixed themselves and are recording DVR again, as they should. Sure enough! Oh. Yep, so the goggles are magically... I have changed nothing on the goggles, and they are magically recording DVR again. I've not changed a single setting. I've not done anything. They just decided not to record any DVR after that first battery yesterday. Okay. Super unreliable. Super unreliable. Super unreliable is basically a big part of the experience that you will get, unfortunately, with these goggles. Random blackouts while you're flying, random white flashes while you're flying, DVR that just randomly doesn't record. Awful expensive goggles for what an unreliable experience that they give. But in FPV, there are very few things that have any amount of reliability. So I guess you get the true FPV experience with these goggles. Oh, man. I was wondering if I was going to be able to get these HQ props off. And so these HQ props, the inner diameter of the propeller is ever so slightly too small. They fit just a little bit too tight. On Happy Model 1.5 millimeter motor shafts, they need to be drilled out. This is my answer. This is the first time I've removed a set of these props. Fuck. And yeah, they need to be drilled out. Absolutely, unquestionably. This is, they are welded to these motor shafts. No. Sorry guys. That's all I got. When this many things go wrong in a row, I gotta just walk away. Sorry. Wow. Go subscribe to Mighty Car Mods. This is my order from Pyrodrone. Very, very exciting. This is Nomad. Hopefully, Nomad will work with the Newbie Drone Hummingbird V 3.1 race, which I've been dying to fly. This does not work with the Naminmo ELRS module that I have. Hopefully this Nomad module will work. This is super exciting. This is why I did this Pyrodrone order. I also snagged a bunch of the Pyrodrone small battery straps. I forget the actual measurement, but Pyrodrone has battery straps that are great for 3-inch rigs. Snagged a bunch of them. Couple of sets of these Gemfan Hurricane 4937 4.9-inch high pitch 37 pitch or 3.7 pitch props. Couple of sets of HQ 3x3x3 propellers. These are apparently the best balanced 3-inch props, which is wild because these are old propellers. The real reason I ordered from Pyrodrone is that they had a couple of Runcam Nano 3s in stock. So I had to snag those because I'm a Runcam Nano 3 whore. I got one of the Nomad dual band receivers. And then a RC and Power, a new interesting motor for 3-inch rigs. This is the RC and Power 1404 and a half. I just got one to see how coggy it is. And I'm going to tell you right now. We can also weigh it, but the big thing that I want to know is how notchy or coggy it is. It's right about in the middle. I wouldn't call it notchy or coggy. I also wouldn't call it smooth, which is great. I love it when they're not super smooth, but they're not super coggy, because that means you'll get a good balance of not many vibrations, but great power. So this is a super interesting motor. They call this 1404 plus. What it actually is 1404 and a half. And the KV is great. It's 4680 kV, so basically 4700 kV. This motor has the potential to knock the T-Motor 1404 4600 kV off the top rung of like best 3-inch 250 gram all up motors. So very, very cool motor from brand new motor from RC and Power. Super interesting. There you go, friends. Sorry that I wasn't able to fly the HDZero rig more, but I don't know. Not a whole lot I can do when the components just die. Let me give it one more chance. It's been sitting. Maybe it just needed to rest. I say that with my tongue in my cheek, but unbelievably, electronics still do sometimes act like this. So I'm coming in here. I'm manually switching to HDZero. It's on R1. And of course it works again. I'm not going to fly it though because the goddamn goggles are beeping. And you know what? As far as I'm concerned, if this AIO5 is just going to randomly not work like that, then I don't suggest that anybody buy it because that's just too much. That's too much. It's too much. I can't in good faith fly this around and be like, wow, this flies great. You should definitely get one of these AIOs that's gonna make you want to pull your fucking hair out. Sorry, but I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I'm really trying. I respect the work that they're doing, and I love that HDZero exists, but boy, what a frustrating experience HDZero is. I'm so sorry. There's so many people that have worked so hard on HDZero, and again, it's super cool that it's a thing. But I'm, whoa boy, too much, man. User experience matters. Making products that work 99% of the time matters, and this isn't even close to 99% of the time. If you have a bunch more patience than I do, HDZero might be good for you, but I guess I just don't have the patience for it. So, yeah. I'm out. Thanks for hanging, guys. Sorry this wasn't a better live stream, but, you know, you plug power in, and if a thing works. If it doesn't work, what am I going to do? You know? Here's some flight footage from... let's see what it is. Previous me will have said what it is. It's an analog 75, I think, 1S rig outside. Let's see. Come on past me. Speak. 2S802 rig. 2S802 rig outside the house. Here you go. I tried to fly it inside the house. Here's me flying it outside the house a couple days ago. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. Bye. Why won't the fucking computer work now? Come on, man. What the hell?